Here's something that might shock you. Most New Zealanders are either massively overinsured or dangerously underinsured, and both are costing them thousands. Here's the thing, New Zealand's insurance landscape is completely different from anywhere else in the world. And if you don't understand these differences, you're either throwing money away or setting yourself up for financial disaster. In this video, I'm going to discuss 7 of the main types of insurance sold in New Zealand and cover what they are, what they cover, and how they're relevant to New Zealand specifically, and what I already pay for a couple of them. I'll also show you an amazing tool already used by over 65,000 Kiwis to compare quotes and get better prices on their insurance. On average, their users find $1,200 of savings, so you won't want to miss out. By the end of the video, you'll know more about your local options than most insurance agents themselves. We have car, contents, house, health, life, travel, and income protection. So let's walk through each of these in more detail. First up, we have car insurance. Interesting fact, unlike most countries, car insurance is totally optional in New Zealand. You aren't required by law to have it. So if you're driving around uninsured and hit someone's car, you're on the hook for all repair costs. If it's a Lamborghini, you'll be economically ruined. So I, for one, would never drive a car that doesn't have a solid insurance. There are 3 main types of car insurance in New Zealand you should know about. Third-party insurance is the absolute minimum coverage you'll find. It covers damage you cause to other people's property, but not your own car. One tier up from that, we have third-party fire and theft. Basically, it's the same as third-party insurance, but your car will be covered for certain events like fire, theft, or sometimes weather damage. If your car is operated with a key, is parked outside, or your area is prone to natural disaster or theft, this should be a consideration. And third, we have comprehensive insurance, which covers pretty much everything: crashes, theft, vandalism, weather damage, and even hitting that Lamborghini from earlier. So that's the 3 insurances. Many providers can also provide add-ons like windscreen protection, roadside assistance, or even cover for lost keys. There are also many factors that affect the cost of your premiums. This could include your driving history, the type of car you drive, whether you park in a garage, that kind of thing. I own a 2012 Toyota Aqua and pay a monthly fee of $86.09 through Toyota Finance for comprehensive insurance. My excess is $1,100 and the sum insured is $10,000. So if I'm involved in an accident, the maximum amount that I'll have to pay out of pocket to fix my car or anyone else's property that I damage is $1,100. With more risk comes higher premiums. Today's video sponsor, Quashed, even found that where you live makes a huge difference. The average Aucklander pays 26% more in monthly premiums than those living in Wellington. It all comes down to risks, and in Auckland, between ram raids and narrow streets and busy traffic, insurers need to charge a bit more. Quashed is a fantastic tool used by over 65,000 Kiwis to compare their insurance quotes in just minutes. On my Aqua, if I switched over to Provident and paid annually, I'd save a whopping $130. All I did is I uploaded my policy, and they did the rest for me. That's the power of the tool, and it works perfectly on both desktop and on mobile. Insurance premiums over the past 3 years are up 51%, so finding a deal right now is essential. A whopping 66 to 79% of Quashed users found cheaper insurance using their website, saving hundreds of dollars in the process. What does this mean for you? It means more money back in your pocket. If you're not one of the 65,000 Kiwis already using Quashed, definitely head over to their website, as if I could find over $100 of savings for 10 to 15 minutes work, then you probably could too. Whether you already have a policy or just want to do some research, they offer 10 different market scan options, even including pets. So head on over to their website using the link down below and in the video description. Next up, we have house insurance. This protects you if something bad happens to your home, resulting in damage like fire or natural disaster. The breadth of cover can differ between insurers and even the plan you select. If you rent, you can ignore it. But if you own a home, it's essential to protect your investment. If you have a mortgage, your bank will often force you to have it. Insurance companies have access to several sources of data to assess the risk of your property, but they'll often ask you further details to accurately provide a quote. The generally accepted approach for determining the cost to repair the property, and therefore the amount to insure for, is the Cordell calculator. Just like the questions asked by the insurer, the calculator requires the same to assess the rebuild costs for your property. Now, where your house is located matters too. Quashed looked at the average premiums paid in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch, and unlike what we saw with cars, Aucklanders actually pay the lowest premiums on their homes. Wellington and Christchurch lie on active fault lines, which explains why their premiums are much higher. Wellington also has the added risk of the land profile, which is much steeper than in both Auckland and Christchurch, which increases the risk of landslides. Now in New Zealand, there's also something called the Natural Hazard Fund, formerly known as the EQC levy. This can be as high as $480 a year as a component of your premiums. Living in New Zealand has its risks, from earthquakes to floods and even volcanic eruptions. It's a part of life here that unfortunately can cause billions of dollars of damage to hundreds of thousands of people. Insurers don't like risk, so to ensure everyone has the ability to insure their property despite these risks, the fund was created, backed by the government and funded from insurance premiums. So they cover the first $300,000 of repair costs for the $480 premium. I own a townhouse in Auckland with a replacement value of around $450,000. I also have an excess of $2,500 on this policy. Every year it costs me $1,422 to insure my home, which protects it from natural disasters, fires, basically anything that would require structural rebuilding. Now if I was in Wellington, using a recent report from Quashed, I could be paying as much as double what I pay in Auckland for the same home. Where your house is located makes a big difference to the premiums that you pay. So that is house insurance, and everything inside your home needs insuring as well, and that's what we call contents insurance. This is a widely misunderstood product as it doesn't just apply to what's in your home, but rather the possessions that you own. So if your laptop gets stolen from your car, or your phone is damaged while you're traveling, depending on your coverage, you'd be covered. It also includes liability protection if you accidentally damage someone else's property. A good rule of thumb when deciding what your sum insured should be is if you had to replace absolutely everything you own tomorrow, how much would it cost? That's your furniture, your technology, your clothes, your collectibles, absolutely everything. That's your contents sum insured. Now I personally don't have this insurance, but if I look around, the camera and filming gear is probably worth around $5,000, the laptop $2,000, desk and screen about $1,000, so just in this room alone, I have about $10,000 of possessions. So this number can add up really quickly if you count everything up. In Quashed, I can source quotes online for this. I key in all of my details, what I want my sum insured to be, a preferred excess, and within a few minutes it found me the cheapest price of $273 a year to insure all of this stuff. The average policy in New Zealand, however, sits at around $830 and would follow the same risk profile as what we saw for houses. Along from there, we have health insurance. Uniquely in New Zealand, our health insurance isn't necessarily for covering accidents, as there's a system called ACC for that. Health insurance is about jumping the queue for non-urgent treatment and accessing private specialists. The public system is your only option for emergencies, but if you need a hip replacement, heart surgery, or cancer treatment, you could wait months or even years in the public waitlists. And this is why over 1 million Kiwis have some form of health insurance, even with universal hospital access. There are lots of options around the type of coverage you want on a health insurance policy. I'm with Southern Cross, and they have about 4 anchor products with several add-ons for cancer, GP, dentist, and eyesight coverage. So there is a lot of flexibility here, and depending on your age, line of work, and health situation, the price will be different for everyone. For me, this is employer sponsored, so to be honest, I don't know what it costs. Similar to health insurance, you have life insurance. This is a simple but crucial form of insurance if anyone depends on your income, like a spouse or children. This insurance pays out on the death of the insured party or the diagnosis of terminal illness that would lead to death within 12 months. Here's my policy with AIA, for example. If I receive a terminal illness diagnosis or pass, my family would receive $809,000. It's as simple as that. If I were to increase the sum assured, there would be a larger payout, but I'd be paying a higher premium. So it's important to know how much your beneficiaries would need if you were to pass, to ensure your sum assured is a fair number. Income protection is a type of insurance that's sometimes bundled with life cover. It's often overlooked, but incredibly important, especially if you rely on your income to meet living expenses. If you have an illness or injury and are unable to work, this is where income protection kicks in. This helps cover your everyday expenses while you recover, so you can focus on getting better without the added stress of lost income. Kiwis often overlook income protection as they believe ACC covers everything. But this isn't the case, as they'll only cover an accident. If you get cancer, have a heart attack, things like this, ACC does not help. Unfortunately, these illnesses might compromise your ability to work even more so than an accident. So this is why income protection exists. With AIA, my cover is called Mortgage and Income Protection. And finally, we have travel insurance. This covers anything that might happen to you while overseas, from needing to go to the hospital to having a delayed flight. It's important to note that New Zealand's universal healthcare and ACC will not cover you while you're overseas. And that's why a reported 90% of Kiwis take out insurance when they travel. If anything happens while out of the country, unless you have adequate travel insurance, you'll be footing the bill. Here's an example. This is a story in the New Zealand Herald of a man that travelled to Bali, crashed his scooter, and faced a $400,000 hospital bill. He had travel insurance, but didn't select a box that covered motorcycle accidents. As a result, he was on the hook for the entire bill. So having cover is critical to avoid unwanted costs. Quash talk about many cases where you're protected or have cancellation cover that many people probably aren't even aware of. So even if you're healthy and unlikely to visit a hospital, travel insurance can still be helpful. Always make sure to check the T's and C's as well, as no two covers are the same. My Amex credit card, for example, offers travel insurance, but the amounts protected are quite low as compared to taking out insurance directly. And that is the 7 main types of insurance sold in New Zealand. I make no claims whatsoever about what you should get. Only a financial advisor can help you make that decision. Most insurers have their own advisors in-house, and making a call to them could directly help you make the right decision for your personal situation. If you want to make sure you're getting the best deal, head on over to the Quashed website using my link down below in the video description. Also make sure to check this video out here to see 7 ways to slash your insurance premiums. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Cheers.